Jeopardy host and Emmy winner Alex Trebek has died.
Here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of all of us, welcome to America's favorite answer and question game, Jeopardy!
What a legend. The TV icon died this morning while surrounded by friends and family at his home. Alex had been battling stage 4 pancreatic cancer since announcing the news back in March of 2019. He immediately started chemo after the diagnosis, but made no plans to retire and continued hosting his game show, the game show he's hosted since 1984. Trebek courageously continued hosting his show for a full year, recently beginning his 37th season. Alex experienced many ups and downs, including depression and the tumor shrinking, but he always maintained a positive outlook. Alex was the winner of 6 Daytime Emmy Awards, and Jeopardy was a ratings juggernaut. Alex Trebek was 80 years old.
Well, now for something completely different. Here's a high-profile guest who has all the answers, well, almost. Okay, he is the honorary president of the Royal Canadian Geographical Society. He has won 5 Emmys. He's Canadian-born, although he works in the United States. The question, who is Alex Trebek? He's here. I got it all, I think, out of there. Perfect. Okay, one more answer for you to frame the question. 50 Sussex in 2018.
Well, 2018, that will be the culmination of all the renovations that are about to take place at this address. And hopefully 50 Sussex Drive will be open in 2017 for the sesquicentennial of Canada, the 150th anniversary of our Confederation. And there will be some exhibits here, and the emphasis will be on exploration in Canada, discovery in Canada, geography in Canada, and the marvelous accomplishments of people in this great land of ours.
Why do we need it?
I think anytime you have an opportunity to highlight the positive aspects of your company, your school, your province, or your country, it's a good thing, because nowadays people are so insular. They communicate beautifully through their cell phones. They are part of these social networks, but they're alone when they're doing it. I can text you, okay, but I'm standing here alone. We need things that bring us together in groups, things that make us proud. And the Royal Canadian Geographic Society at this location is something that will make Canadians everywhere feel proud. This is going to be a must-visit site in our nation's capital in the years to come.
I've noticed, and you probably have too, more so than me because you live on both sides of the border, but we don't celebrate a lot of our exploration history and our geography as well as the Americans. Have you noticed that? Is this something that we need to do more often?
Well, yeah, if you think of Lewis and Clark in the United States. President Jefferson got Lewis and Clark to make their way west. Here we have Champlain. People will remember, oh yeah, he lost his astrolabe out there near the Chaudière Falls. But what else? Yeah, you're right, Jacques Cartier, you know, and there is a great deal. What we don't know, most Canadians don't know anything about the exploration of our western provinces, and that's unfortunate. And here, the Royal Canadian Geographic Society will have an opportunity to change all of that by bringing those explorations to the forefront and educating Canadians in a highly entertaining way. And that's important, because if you think it's serious schoolwork, you're not that interested. But if you can make it entertaining, which is what we try to do on Jeopardy, for instance, right, you learn while you're playing a game. You don't think you're learning, but you are. You will retain some of the information, and that's a good thing.
All right, final point. The answer is, you got to give me the question. The answer is Justin Trudeau.
Who is the youngest and current Prime Minister of Canada and head of the Liberal Party?
I'm not sure he's the youngest, but I'll give you points for that.
I think he was the youngest.
I'm going to check on this, and I'm going to tell our viewers if I'm right and you're wrong. That's one for the history books.
I'm trying to remember back.
Wasn't Joe Clark younger?
When he became Prime Minister?
Yeah.
We'll
have this argument some other time. That's it. We don't have any more time. Thank you, Alex Trebek.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming on
Thank
the show.
you for getting me off the hook.
Canadian
Here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
faces his biggest challenge.
You're not afraid of dying.
No. No. Not afraid of dying. There are moments when I have some regrets about having gone public with it because there's a little too much of Alex Trebek out there, and I regret that. But I'm going to fight this.
And searching for the lost.
You feel like you need to bring these people home.
We have to. Not knowing just eats you alive.
You're worried that they're going to mess up your cases.
There is a potential.
Eventually, somebody will find her.
CTV's W5 with Lisa LaFlamme, Avery Haynes, Peter Ackman, and Sandy Ronaldo. Here is Lisa LaFlamme.
Welcome to W5. Alex Trebek is one of the most recognizable faces in North America. He's been on the television airwaves for over 50 years, 35 of them as the host of Jeopardy. He is, above all, Canadian, and he's returned to Ottawa, where it all began. He arrives, however, at a challenging time in his life. Alex has just started a new round of chemotherapy to fight his stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
The thought of the pancreatic cancer does not frighten me.
You're not afraid of dying.
No. No. Not afraid of dying. As I told somebody the other day, one thing they're not going to say at my funeral as a part of a eulogy, he was taken from us too soon. I'm 79 years old. So, hey, I've lived a good life, a full life, and I'm nearing the end of that life. I know that. I'm not going to delude myself. So if it happens, it happens. And why should I be afraid of it? Now, if you said, well, you're going to suffer a great deal, well, I might be afraid of all the suffering, but we can cover that with pills or medication of one kind or another. The effects of the chemo are strongest in the first 10 days, say, after you receive it.
So you haven't started the second round?
Oh, I've started it.
Is it different than the first round?
No. They thought that the first round did such good for me that they would repeat it because the immunotherapy didn't do diddly squat. And
why?
Who knows? But it just kicked the slats out from under me, and I lost a lot of weight. So we're back on the chemo, and we'll see if the numbers go down. And if they do, they can't keep doing it forever, of course, so they'll have to find a new protocol or whatever to administer. And, you know, we'll play it by ear and just keep chunking along until we either win or lose.
Since revealing his diagnosis in March,
This week, I was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Alex Trebek has kept his game face on,
But I'm going to fight this, and I'm going to keep working.
refusing to let cancer
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alex Trebek.
or chemo
Alex Trebek!
slow him down.
Thank you. And look at this as a sign that you guys like me.
At the end of May, he was telling the world he was near remission.
Some of the tumors have already shrunk by more than 50%.
It's kind of mind-boggling. Trebek says his doctors have never seen someone react so well to treatment.
Declaring victory over an incurable disease with a long-term survival rate measured in months, not years.
I've gone through a lot of chemotherapy, and thankfully that is now over. I'm on the mend.
By the end of summer, though, a sobering setback.
We thought I was finished with chemo. That was a bit premature and certainly over-optimistic. There are moments when I have some regrets about having gone public with it because I think I'm being, there's a little too much of Alex Trebek out there, and I regret that. I have become, in many ways, the spokesperson for pancreatic cancer, and I'm not sure that, you know.
What's wrong with that?
Well, there are a lot of expectations, and what I've discovered is that not only have I become the de facto flag carrier for it, a lot of people are coming to me and looking for help, reassurance, and that's tough. I was contacted recently by somebody, a woman who has just been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and she's taking it very badly. She's about 10 years younger than I am. And I tried to cheer her up as best I could. And it's tough sometimes trying to be as optimistic as you can when the other person feels none of that optimism. They feel only despair. And I don't know if I'm strong enough or intelligent enough to help alleviate some of that despair. So it's tough on me. But hey, it is what it is, and I do the best I can.
Well, I think we look at you, and the last 6 months of your life alone have just been so incredibly busy. Others look at you and say, this is possible.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people out there who have cancers, who continue to live their lives and go about their business and do all of that, and they do it without recognition. I'm fortunate, if you will, because I'm in the public eye, and so I get a lot of recognition because of that. But to be the inspiration for a lot of other people makes me feel good, but it does place a responsibility on me that I feel I'm not deserving of.
But when you were told the cancer's back and you were just about to start taping the new season, how hard was it to be the happy host, to go out in front of camera?
No problem whatsoever, because I didn't feel any great pain. I didn't feel any change in my body, even though the numbers from the chemical tests came back saying, we've had a reversal here, so we'd better look at this again. Okay. There are weaknesses that I feel in my body, but I can always suck it up when it comes time to tape the show. I can be sitting in my dressing room and I get up and I'm not able to move, but all of a sudden when Johnny says, and now here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek. Okay, let's go.
It's the smash hit Jeopardy!
Long before Alex Trebek tested our trivia in the U.S.,
Daily double.
What is Magic Mountain?
You are right.
he reached for the top in Canada.
In what part of the world would you find a wombat?
The earliest memory I have of Reach for the Top is these are 14 and 15-year-old kids. They're as bright as hell.
Born in Sudbury, Ontario, to a French-Canadian mother and a Ukrainian immigrant father, young Alex landed his first job at 13 at the same hotel where his father worked as a chef.
We didn't have much, but they were very generous in giving of themselves to help other people.
The broadcasting bug hit when he was still a student at the University of Ottawa.
I read an article the other day, which is rather surprising because about 4 or 5 years ago I decided to give up reading.
But he credits his move to American television to another Canadian transplant.
Alan Thicke, he called me up and said, we are working on a new game show for NBC television. Would you be interested in auditioning for the job? I said, sure.
His big break was as the Wizard of Odds.
And now here's the wily wizard himself, Alex Trebek.
That show was the first in a series of short-term gigs.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Until Merv Griffin tapped Trebek as the host who would know the question.
What is Annapolis?
That's right.
To every answer.
Here is the host of Jeopardy!
36 seasons and nearly 8,000 episodes.
Welcome to America's favorite answering question game, Jeopardy!
A game show winning streak that's still unmatched.
How much longer do you want to do Jeopardy?
I will keep doing it as long as my skills do not diminish, and they have started to diminish. I talk to the producers about this all the time now. I say, look, I'm slurring my words. My tongue doesn't work as well as it used to. The chemo has caused sores inside my mouth. It makes it difficult for me to speak and enunciate properly. They said, well, we don't notice. I said, yeah, I notice those things, and I'm sure there are observant members of the television audience who notice also. But they're forgiving, and
do you feel you then have to almost prepare your fans and your longtime, lifetime viewers that you may not fulfill this? If the moment comes and you say, I don't like my own performance anymore, is that your benchmark?
Yeah, probably. When I feel that way, when I feel that my skills have diminished to the point that I notice and am bothered by it. I notice now, but I'm not as bothered by it because all of the people around me are saying, no, it's okay. But there will come a point where they will no longer be able to say, it's okay.
That's the thing in TV. You get a lot of people who love you and say yes to you and say everything's fine, but who do you have in your life that sort of cuts through that and tells you the truth about yourself?
Yeah.
You never lie to yourself.
I try not to.
Coming up, looking back on a storied career.
If it's possible for me to make a difference, then why don't I do it?
When W5 continues.
You talk about having no money as a kid, growing up, as a student. How has that sort of framed your life today? You are now, obviously, you have great wealth and great fame.
Well, I think it makes me appreciate the hardships that affect many other people. And since I'm in a position to help, why not do something to make their lives a little easier? Give them the break that I had in a different context. And maybe that will turn their lives around, as it did mine. And there's no downside to it. I'm helping somebody. That makes them feel good. I feel good because I'm making them feel good. So why not do it? And that takes you up to $59,381.
For as long as Jeopardy contestants have been winning prize money.
A 29-day total of $2,254,000.
Alex Trebek has been giving his own away.
A devastating earthquake struck Haiti.
For children abroad and students at home. He is the University of Ottawa's most famous graduate.
That's why I have continued to support the university. And I get teary-eyed. Oh, that you think I'd grow out of this.
And most generous benefactor.
You've done so much for the school. And now I think your donations totaling $9.5 million personally. And I wonder why. What is it that drives you to give so much?
Like most people who have achieved a certain degree of success in life, it behooves you to start giving back. And you want to give back to those charities or those entities that have had an impact on your life, hopefully a positive impact. And the University of Ottawa certainly qualifies in that regard.
When did that strike you that you wanted to do more, give back?
Oh, that was during the Ethiopian famine in the mid-1980s, when I saw those terrifying pictures coming out of Ethiopia and the suffering on the children particularly. And that started a 25-plus year association with World Vision that continues to this day. A woman, it was food distribution day at this complex, and she wasn't one of the ones who was lucky enough to be able to get the food. And she came to me with her baby and wanted me to take her baby. Take my baby, please, adopt my baby, become the father. I mean, heartbreaking stuff.
How do you teach your own kids that message, given that the life of privilege they must have lived, and yet it's clearly so important to you?
I think they have learned by watching. My son's sitting in the other room, and I'm very proud of him because both he and his sister, Emily, have achieved elements of compassion in life that I don't think I had at their age. And I don't know if they got it from me or from their mother, who is an extremely wonderful human being, but they have it. And I'm so proud that they do have it.
Future generations who will, let's come back to Ottawa U, are going to go into the Alex Trebek Alumni Hall or see that tribute wall to you inside. What do you want those future generations to know about the man whose generosity made all of that possible?
I don't think I want them to know anything about me personally, to be quite honest with you. As the years go by, I will be forgotten. People will wonder. It's just a name, and they'll read and they say, oh, well, that's nice, and they'll move on. But that's fine. I'm not doing it for glory. I'm doing it to try to make a positive difference in the world, and if I can, great.
As proud as he is of his Canadian roots,
There are no Canadian teams left in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but thank God for the Raptors.
Alex Trebek is also American. He became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1998.
Come on in, Emily. You're gonna get to meet my daughter.
Love to. Who is this little beauty?
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
It was in 1996 that he first invited W5 to his California home.
Okay, ready? Daddy's gonna catch you. Hold on. Now come to Dada.
His family was his sanctuary then.
Oh, there you go.
And now, they're also his lifeline.
How hard is it now facing this devil we'll call the cancer? And who gives who strength? You giving it to your wife and kids, or vice versa? How does that work?
No, I think she gives it more to me, and one of my concerns is the effect it has on her. I don't hear as much about the effect it has on my son and my daughter because they have these lives of their own and are away from me most of the time, and they don't see, they're not with me when I'm going through a bad experience, say, a bad reaction to the chemo. But I know they care, and I know one thing that upsets them is that I'm probably not as communicative as I should be about what I'm going through. But what I don't like from them is to make assumptions that, well, I feel this way or I feel that way. We just, let's play it by ear. And if things work out, terrific.
How do the kids react to this? The diagnosis, the cancer coming back?
They were upset when they first learned about it, but they look at me and they don't see too many changes in me. So it's not like, oh God, he's deteriorating before our very eyes. I'm still working, I'm still fixing things around the house, I'm still spending time with them. They flew to England to surprise my wife on the day of her birthday. We were visiting the Bronte Parsonage in Haworth in Yorkshire, and here come Matthew and Emily. And great moment, made Jeannie, my wife, cry. We visited there now 4 times,
Why?
5 times. It's a romantic spot for us. It was the first place we visited together before we got married. We walked the moors, we walked to Top Withens, and it's just special. We walked it in a pouring rainstorm, loved it. Carved our names inside an old sheep barn. And then later on carved Matthew's name after he was born, and Emily's name. And then, unfortunately, the barn collapsed, but we still have photos of it, so yeah.
Do you talk about the future?
Well, not that much, no. I'm not worried about it. Whatever comes, comes. It does bother me that I might pass on before I get to have a grandchild. Hint, hint.
I know you certainly grew up Catholic, but are you a spiritual man?
I say I'm not, my wife says I am, without realizing
Okay,
it.
so fill in the gap for me there.
No, there are no gaps. I can't fill them in. I'm sort of spiritual in some ways.
The first time you were interviewed by CTV W5 at your home in California, the question was about your family, and you said,
one of the things that marriage and having a family has brought into my life is fear. When I was a bachelor, I didn't care, man. I did everything. Didn't matter.
do you still feel that way?
Yes. There isn't a time when my wife goes, we have a park behind our house with trails that people walk all the time. And if my wife goes for a run through that park and the hills and isn't home before dark, I worry. And I chastise her for that. I said, damn it, it's dark. Do it in the daytime.
And the kids? What are you afraid of?
I don't worry as much about them anymore because I know they know how to look after themselves and they know how to avoid dangerous spots in life. So
you have had a rich life of love and family.
Yep. Lucky.
So if you're honest and you know, you look at it, you already have the longevity record, Alex. Mm-hmm. The longest serving single host show in history. You have the fame, you have the fortune. What is it that you still want to accomplish?
I want to make a difference in the lives of people. And I can do that through charitable donations. I can do that through charitable work. And I can do that hopefully by speaking out against some of the problems, political, social, cultural, that I see in societies around the world. And if it's possible for me to make a difference, then why don't I do it?
Rosa, can I see that picture? I just want to show Alex. Rosa took this picture when we were with you last at the Canadian Geographical
Royal
Society.
Canadian Geographic Society, looking out at the Ottawa River.
We thought that was a very powerful picture, though. I'm always wondering what's going on in your head as you look over that mighty Ottawa River.
Well, keep wondering.
A great Canadian and a great man. We wish him strength.